Hello to everyone. Good morning. My name is Turini Stefano. I'm a junior researcher at the Wuppertal Institute in the Department of Circular Economy. And today, with me, we will address the third module, which is the rules of different stakeholders. And we will see in specific the policymaker and administration, the communities, and the businesses. So this one is mainly the first part of the third module, where we will go deep the policymaker and the administration stakeholder. So when we speak about the third module, I would like first of all to give you an index. So we will start with the goal and the level of knowledge that you will reach at the end of the module. After, for each actor, we will have a video. So we will start with the policymaker here. After, in the next video, we will see the communities, and after, the businesses. In the end, we will have the last video where we will go deep into the stakeholders barriers towards the shift from the linear model to the circular economy model at the city level, and also there we will draw some conclusion. So, the goal of this module is mainly to understand which is the role of different stakeholders in during the shift from the linear to the circular economy model. So we will see what are also the interaction between them, and what is important when we have to develop an economic system which is circular at a city level. At the end of this module, you will get interesting knowledge about also relevant examples that we will have, and you will get a full awareness about the role of the different stakeholders that we have just mentioned. So when we speak about the stakeholders, we decide to focus on those three because we really think they are the main one when we have to do those kind of shift. And it's important to say here that those kind of systemic shift has to be coordinated and has to be well planned from the actors, because here we are trying to get to make a big shift from the linear to the circular economy model, and so we have to involve all the actors who are inside the economic system. So we have the policymaker and administration, which has the role of a guide, but also he's the front runner, as we will see, as the one who has to set the rules and has to define which is the mission that the state has to achieve. Second, we have the communities, um, which is mainly composed by all the participants, and here the main role is to facilitate. And in the end, we have the businesses who are the responsible for the production of goods and services in the economy. So when we want to have a change of global materials flows, we really need the support of all the actors that are involved in the economic system. This one has to be well organized, has to be inclusive, but also has to be economically advantageous. Okay, let's start with the first stakeholder. Here we speak about the policymaker and administration. So when we speak about the state, so the policymakers regarding the state, we mean mainly the central government. When we speak about the policymaker at the city level, we refer to the city council. When we speak about the state, I think there is also an important mentality change in the policymaker, which is the top-down approach, as we will see in the next video for the community, we have the bottom-up approach, and they should go at the same time in order to be successfully. So the state has to take a leading role in defining the direction, but also the mission that wants to achieve. In fact, in the defining the mission, this one has to be, of course, in the interest of the community, which is composed by the citizens. I think it's important to focus a bit on the topic that the state doesn't want to choose who is going to win and who is going to lose, but simply the state wants to carry out alliances with the stakeholders, the actors who are willing to go in the same direction of the mission that was set at the beginning by the state. The main objective of the public investment here, which are of course made by the policymaker, is to create a vision on the market. And the purpose is to foster the predictability of private investment. So the goal of the public investment is to show how the future will look like to the private sector. This one is important because the private sector mainly it's not willing to invest in high risk sector, which they will give a return in the long term. So it's important to show since the beginning to the private sector how the future, how the circular economy is going to be look like at the city level in their precise environment. When we speak about the effectiveness of the transition to the circular economy model, this one depends also on how the solutions are integrated inside the socio-economic context. So here we have some examples of aspects and measures which can be implemented by the policymaker at the city level. We have example number one, we have how to stimulate the demand. And here we have the example of the green public procurement, which are mainly purchases made by the government in order to purchase green products or green services. Example number two, we have how to support the supply. So in this case, we have a really interesting example of fiscal incentives from Germany. And third, we have how to shore up the waste management system. So how to build the infrastructure in order to give the possibility to waste to become secondary raw material, and so how to give possibility to the secondary raw material to be reintroduced inside the production system. Okay, let's start with the first example when we have how to stimulate the demand, and here we have the green public procurement, which mainly are purchases of green products and green services made by the policymaker in order to give a signal to the market. Here we have It Smart, which is a model developed by the Institute for Public Health in Stockholm, and the city of Malmo has decided to adopt it in its food policy. So here the main goal is to encourage from one side the production but also the consumption of green products, in this case green food. And this approach includes mainly 5 recommendations. We can mention the reduction in the meat consumption, but also the increasing the amount of organic produce, or the carefully choosing the right sort of meat and vegetables from an environmental and health perspective. So here when we have this kind of tool, we have from one side some benefits. So we want to create a demand for low carbon footprint food, But also on the other side, we have some challenges, like we have a high cost of the food, at least in the first period. But also, I think we have more interesting challenge is the change in the global food chain. As we know, when we want to have some change in the supply chain, we always will find some resistance from the player who is getting benefits from the status quo. Example number two, we speak about fiscal incentives, and here we have an example from Germany, which 2 years ago the federal government has decided to launch an initiative to sell season ticket for public transportation for a really cheap price. Um, these initiatives merely aimed at directly changing people's habits and have, from one side, some benefits that through economically measures encourage people to make a transition. So it's a facilitate the shift from no sustainable consumption patterns to sustainable one. And on the other side, we have also some challenges. So mainly, I think here the main one is when we do introduce those kind of measure, it's important also to introduce some supporting measure in order to improve the quality of the service. In our case, an example of a supporting measure could be also the introduction, so the increasing the numbers of public buses and public trains. The last example is about how to build the infrastructure. So when we speak about the waste management, the most important thing is how to transform the waste into secondary raw material, and how also to create the condition in order to allow the secondary raw material to be reintroduced inside the production system. Here we have an example from Kenya, which, in order to solve the problem of mismanagement of plastics, but also to recover some important resources, the government has provide fiscal incentives such as first a VAT exemption for all services which were offered to plastic recycling facilities, but also a reduction on corporate tax for the first 5 years for any investor who were operating in a plastic recycling plant. Here we have from one side some benefits, so we try to make circularity oriented practices more cost effective, and on the other side we have some challenges, so which are more related to long-term objectives. So thank you so much. This one was the first part of the third module about the policymaker. Looking forward to for the second part of the third module, which is about the communities. So if you have any question, if you have any suggestion, also feel free to contact me at this mail address. Thank you so much and see you in the next module. Ciao.